Hey there, my name is Fish Stark. I'm a member of the board of directors at the International Bullying Prevention Association. I'm the youth activation manager at Peace First, a nonprofit that helps young people change the world. And I run the Teaching Peace Initiative, an organization that mobilizes young people to create cultures in their schools where everyone belongs. Bullying's not just a problem of behavior, it's a problem of culture. It's a product of the assumptions and the beliefs that we all have about how we treat people who are different than us, how we treat people or behaviors or characteristics that we don't understand. And adults have power to control young people's behavior, but only young people have the power to create culture. What we've seen throughout decades of research is that peers have an incredible power of influence, often more than adults, even more than celebrities. And they especially have incredible influence over how young people treat one another. So when we're talking about building bullying prevention strategies that work, it's important to think about how we're bringing young people to the table, to create, to design, and to lead those strategies. So there are three things that we know from decades of trial and error in the bullying prevention field. The first is that for a program to work, it needs to have buy-in from students. They need to believe it's not just another assembly that they're being forced to go to, but something that's relevant to their lives and meaningful to their everyday experiences. The second thing that we know is often adults get things wrong. Bullying evolves with every generation, with the introduction of new technology, with the introduction of new norms and social practices. Adults just don't have the same grounding that young people do in what it means to be bullied, what it means to belong in this day and age. The third thing we know is that bullying is about not just changing behaviors, but changing mindsets. Young people are uniquely equipped to do that work. So when you're thinking about building a bullying prevention strategy, ask yourself a few things. First, how are you working with young people to make sure you understand their experience? Every generation, norms change, technology changes, the face of bullying changes. The way bullying looked when you were in school 20 years ago, even the way bullying looked when you last went to a conference or a training 5 years ago, is not the way bullying looks now. The people who know exactly how bullying is playing out day to day are the students who are experiencing it right now. So ask those students what their experiences of bullying are. Ask them what it feels like to be bullied or not to belong. Ask them what behaviors their peers do that make them feel estranged or that make them feel uncomfortable. And update your own definition of bullying based on what you're hearing. Then think about how you're involving students in designing the solution. So young people don't just have a lot of great ideas about what's wrong. They have a lot of great ideas about what can change. They know what influences their behavior, and they have a pretty good sense of what's going to influence their peers' behavior as well. So involve young people in thinking about, once you know what the problem is, how your school can respond and react to it. Finally, you want to think about how you can engage young people in delivering the bullying prevention interventions that you design. What decades of research show us is that young people have this incredible power of peer influence. What we know is that young people influence their peers' thoughts on smoking, on drugs, on sex, and on how they treat each other. So young people have this incredible power to influence each other, and if you can tap into that power, you're going to see an incredible wave of change. So think about how you're harnessing the power of young people to change culture and beliefs and behavior. Whenever you've got a message that you want students to understand, think about how you can engage their peers to deliver that message. Because young people trust that their peers know more about their experiences than adults do. They trust that their peers understand what it's like to be them. And as a consequence, they're more likely to listen. They're less likely to tune it out, and they're more likely to adopt the behaviors that we want to see. So think about how you can have students involved in identifying the problems, designing the solution, and then delivering the intervention. When you incorporate young people at every level of your bullying prevention strategy, what you're going to see is a lot more success. I was really badly bullied in elementary and middle school. I came into high school angry and wanting to make change. A group of students and I talked about our experiences in school and realized that We had gotten a lot of great anti-bullying curriculum, and so had our peers. But it hadn't sank in because we didn't think it was relevant to us. And we wondered, what would it be like if those same messages were delivered by other students? So in 2011, we wrote up our own curriculum and we went to our own elementary and middle school and we started teaching about empathy, conflict resolution, tolerance. We saw incredible shifts in students' belief and behavior, not because we were teaching anything that was groundbreakingly new or with any amazingly different strategies, but because it was a peer-to-peer conversation and students trusted us. They trusted that we understood what they were going through, and they trusted that what we were sharing with them was relevant. Eventually, we shared that curriculum with students at other schools around the country. What we learned was that students really wanted to be engaged in bullying prevention because this is work that affects them every day. For most students, belonging is a matter of survival, and they want to be engaged in creating schools where everyone matters and where everyone feels safe. If you ask students to help you build a stronger school, a school without bullying, so many of them, many more than you expected, will raise their hand and ask to help. If you give them that opportunity, what you'll see is incredible growth. So at Peace First, where I work, we track what happens to young people when they work to change their community. We see amazing growth in students' grit, their empathy, their teamwork, their civic engagement when an adult asks them to raise their hand and take on a challenge in their community. So when you engage students in bullying prevention work, not only are you making that work more successful, you're creating an incredible experience for a student who's looking to find a way to solve this problem that affects